update. Today we're going to start with your quantitative aptitude class. This is, as I told you, this is being a class which has been a very important one. And on the same way, we go for the quantitative aptitude, that has been the 140th class, where we had completed 139 class of the session as well. This has been the arithmetical ability, and that is your name as partnership. We had completed your 49 questions. Today we'll start discussing about the 50th question in 140th class. But in today's class, we will be doing the data sufficiency type questions that we had done before as well. So we go for in partnership, we deal with data sufficiency type question. In this type of a question, if you remember, if you had visited our previous classes of the last topics, so you know very well that which type of a question I'm talking about. But if you are new, you can just go for the same. You will find it out there, each and every video and each and every topic of different types. For this type of a question, you have each of the following questions given below, that consist of the statement and a question, and two statements numbered 1 and 2 that is given below it. You have to decide whether the data provided in the statement is or are sufficient to the answer of the question. You have to read both the statement and you have to give the answer as A, B, C, D, E. Like A, when you choose A, it means that if the data is in the statement 1 alone are sufficient to answer the question, while the data in the statement B second, that is also are not sufficient, alone are not sufficient to answer the question. You will choose B if you think that if the data in the statement second alone are sufficient to answer the question, while the data in statement 1 alone are not sufficient to answer the question. You will choose C, and if the data either in the statement 1 or in the statement 2 alone are sufficient to answer the question. You will choose D if the data even in both statement 1 and 2 together are not sufficient to answer the question. You will choose E option if the data in both statement 1 and 2 together are necessary to give the answer to the question. So this is all you have to be worried about. So we go for the same. So I will just write it down as an option A and B, so that you will be able to see this and it will be answered it out while seeing this only. So for option A, it will be if the data in statement 1 the data in the statement 1 alone are sufficient to answer the question, while the data in statement 2 alone are not sufficient to answer the question. Okay, now for B, which you choose B. If you think if the data in statement 2 alone are sufficient to answer the question while the data in statement 1 alone are not sufficient to answer the question. Now we talk for the C1, that is an option C. If the data either in statement 1, if the data either in statement 1 or in statement 2 alone are sufficient to answer the question. Talking for the D1, that is we have the D option, which is if the data even in both statement 1 and 2 together are not sufficient to answer the question. If the data even in both statement 1 and second together are not sufficient to answer the question. While we choose option E when you think if the data in both statement 1 and 2 if the data both in both statement 1 and 2 together are necessary to answer the question. It means if you choose A, that the in statement 1 is alone to answer the question, and your statement 2 is not alone or sufficient to answer the question. You will choose B if you think that statement 1 and 2 is sufficient, alone are sufficient, and statement 1 is not sufficient. We'll choose C if the data in either of the statement 1 and statement 2 alone are sufficient to answer the question, and we will choose D if the data even in the both statement 1 and 2 together are not sufficient to answer the question. You will choose E if the data both statement 1 and 2 together are that necessary to answer the question. So we go for the question and that you have to answer here. So which has been the 50th question of the session. So let's move ahead. 50th question here. Though 50 question we have, Ravi, Gagan and Nitin are running a business firm in partnership. What is the Gagan's shares in the profit earned by them? This has been asked in MBA examination paper. So we have two statements. So that is the statement one we have for this. Ravi, Gagan and Nitin invested the amount in the ratio 2:4:7. Where statement second is Nitin's shares in the profit is rupees 8,750. Now we have to answer here. So let's go for the same. Ravi, Gagan and Nitin invested Gagan that are running a business firm in partnership. What is Gagan's share? And the profit earned by them. This has been asked in MBA examination paper. Though statement one we have and statement two. So we go for one by one with the statements here. Statement one says Ravi, Gagan and Nitin invested the amount in the ratio of 2:4:7. And according to the second statement, Nitin's, so with this, that is Nitin's share in the profit is rupees 8,750. Okay, so where we go for the next here and we'll solve this. So let the name Ravi, Gangan and Nitin by R, G and N respectively as your initials. According to the first statement, let's say that R ratio G ratio N equals to 2:4:7. And according to the second statement, what they said, is n equals to 8,750. Now from 1 and 2 we get n equals to 7, then g equals to 4 when n equals to 8,750, then g equals to 4 upon 7 into 8,750, which will equals to 5,000. So thus both 1 and 2 are needed to get the answer. Where correct answer we get here is E. Now we talk about here, which has been another question, is 51st question of the session, and the question we have as follows: A and B start a business jointly. Where what is A's shares out of the annual profit of rupees 23,800? This statement 1 we have B's investment is 12 by 2% more than A's investment, and A's investment is rupees 1,20,000. So here we have to solve this. Let's go for the question. Wanted question. The question here: A and B start a business jointly. What is A's share out of an annual profit of rupees 23,800? So statement 1 and statement 2. For the statement 1, what it states that B's investment is 12 by 2% more than A's investment. This A statement states that A's investment is rupees 1,20,000. We have to find it out here. So we go for the solution. So here we go for the same. Let annual profit equals to rupees 23,800. Rupees 23,800. So according to the first statement, what states that let A's investment equals to rupees X, then B's investment is 12 1 by 2% of rupees X, which is equals to rupees 9x upon 8. Okay, now coming towards next here, for the solution according to the B, what they had said in the statement second. But first of all, we have to solve the statement 1. A ratio B equals to X ratio 9x upon 6, which is 9x upon 8 equals to 8 ratio 9. Now A is a share. Rupees 23800, that is 23,800 into 8 upon 70, which will give you the answer here, rupees 11,200. Now thus 1 only gives the answer. Now talking about for the second statement here, A is investment. Goes to rupees 1,20,000 here. So this is not sufficient to get the answer. This 1 gives the answer, but second is not sufficient to get the answer, and we get as an answer is the options A. So here the correct answer will be option A. We go for the next question. That one's being another important one, and which we have to solve here. The question is your 52th question of the session. The question is, A and B are in a partnership business of 1 year. At the end of the year, a profit that of rupees 20,000 was earned. What is a share that you have to answer? Option the statement 1 is your A invested rupees 50,000, and B second statement is B withdraw his capital after 8 months. So we have to answer here. A and B are in a partnership business of 1 year. At the end of the year, profit of rupees 20,000 was earned. What is share? The statement 1 we have A invested rupees 50,000, and the statement second we have B withdraw his capital after 8 months. So for this we have to answer here, and that has been as follows. Here, since B's investment is not given, both the statements even do not give the answer. So the options we get here is option D will be the right answer. You can just write it down here. Thus, since B's investment is not given, support the statement given. Do not give answer. So the D options has been the right answer for this question here. Now we talk here which has been another one, and that has been the 53rd question of the session, that we have to deal here, and which has been is also asked in the bank Q question paper in 141th class. We discussed that, and the question I told you, Rahul and Anurag and Vivek started a business together. In what proportion would the annual profit be distributed among them? The statement one for the same one we have as your that is your the statement one is Rahul got 1/4 of the profit, and the second statement, Rahul and Vivek contributed 75% of the total investment. So according to that you have to answer here, and I hope you get all the information related to it and you are able to solve all these questions in an easy way. So first of all, we're gonna end up with this, but before ending it up, as I told you, we are dealing with the chemistry part 1 for class 11, and as well as physics part 1 for class 11 solution, that is your NCRT solutions. And even though we are dealing with computer based numerical and statistical technique, we had completed your reasoning, wherein that we had completed your verbal reasoning and non-verbal reasoning, and where we have a topics, many more topics related to it that we had done, which is important one. And your appreciation that comes from your side is very very helpful for us, because your support is very important to us. Thanks to all those subscribers who had subscribed our channel and those who had appreciated our hard work. Thank you. We are willing to provide you more and more information related to the competition, related to the engineering, related to the academics, whatever the subject you required of, it will be surely help you out. That as from starting I had told you, we are dealing with ER diagrams as well. That is also important in terms of the BMS, that is the database management system. In terms of reasoning, we had completed one. We will start discussing about the human values as well. Coming towards quantitative aptitude, where we have started with arithmetical ability. That is the first part of your quantitative aptitude. So here in this we had started, and even though we had done, and that is your we had done numbers, operations on numbers, and SCF and LCF of numbers, decimal fraction, simplification, square roots and cube roots, problems on numbers, problems on square averages, problems on numbers, problems on ages, sorts and indices, percentage, profit and loss ratio and proportion, partnership. That is we are dealing here, that is the 13th topic. After completing that, we'll start discussing about the chain rule, then time and work, pipe and system, time and distance, problems on train, boards and streams, allegations on mixture, simple interest, compound interest, logarithm, area, volume and surface area, races and games of skills, calendar, clocks, stocks and shares, permutation and combination, probability to discount, banker's discount, height and distance, and odd man out series. In terms of data interpretation, we have to cover up the tabulations, bar graphs, pie charts, and line graph. So here we're gonna end up with. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and give a suggestion on the comment box. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe so that we'll provide you more and more. Thank you.